In life, there is a very familiar paradox. We spend a lot of time learning how to speak well, but very little time learning how to speak in a way that makes others want to listen. We often believe that as long as we are right, as long as we have logical arguments, others will understand, but reality shows the opposite. Many relationships break down not because the differences are too big, but because the way we speak makes the other person feel hurt, looked down upon, or not respected. How to Win Friends and Influence People was written in that context. Not to teach people how to win arguments, but to point out another path, the path of understanding. The book does not promise quick changes, but through many small stories, it makes readers slow down and think more deeply about how they treat the people around them. From the very first stories, Dale Carnegie analyzes a very common human habit, criticizing. When we see mistakes, our natural reaction is to criticize, correct, or even blame, but the book shows that criticism rarely brings the results we expect. When being criticized, people do not focus on fixing the mistake, but on protecting their ego. They look for excuses to justify themselves, or silently resist. Through stories about leaders and managers, Dale Carnegie shows that the more people criticize, the greater the distance between individuals becomes, and the lower the effectiveness of work. From there, the book leads readers to a different approach. Instead of criticizing, start with understanding. This does not mean ignoring mistakes, but changing the way we talk about mistakes. When people do not feel judged, they are more willing to look at the problem honestly. This is a very important point in How to Win Friends and Influence People. Changing the approach can completely change the outcome, even though the problem itself remains the same. One central theme throughout the book is the need for recognition. Dale Carnegie believes that the desire to be appreciated is one of the strongest human motivations. In many stories, people who seem indifferent, cold, or irresponsible change simply because they are properly recognized. When we analyze this more deeply, we see that when a person is recognized, they not only feel happy, but also feel that they have value. And when people feel valuable, they naturally want to live and act in a way that matches that value. The book also spends a great deal of time talking about the art of listening. But not listening in order to argue, rather listening in order to understand. Dale Carnegie analyzes that many people think they are listening, but in reality, they are just waiting for their turn to speak. In the tense situations described in the book, sometimes all it takes is one person who is willing to stay silent, step out of the center, and truly pay attention to the other person's emotions, for the atmosphere to change. The analysis here is very clear. People do not only need their problems solved, they also need their feelings acknowledged. Another important idea in How to Win Friends and Influence People is the ability to see things from another person's point of view. Dale Carnegie does not see this as a sophisticated skill, but as a habit that must be practiced. In the book, many stories show that when someone understands the motivations and desires of the other person, there is no longer a need for heated arguments. Because at that point, the goal is no longer to win or lose, but to find common ground and move forward together. In the later parts, the book goes deeper into how to positively influence others. Dale Carnegie analyzes that people often react negatively to commands, but are more open to positive expectations. When you treat someone as if they are capable and responsible, you are unintentionally setting a standard that they want to live up to. Many stories in the book show that the trust placed in a person becomes the motivation for that person to change themselves. Another very subtle point analyzed in How to Win Friends and Influence People is the issue of saving face. Dale Carnegie believes that damaging someone's self-respect can destroy all previous efforts to build a relationship. Therefore, in stories about giving feedback and correcting mistakes, skillful people always choose ways that allow others to fix their mistakes without feeling humiliated. This analysis shows that finesse in communication is not about speaking less or more, but about speaking in the right way, at the right time. When all the stories and analyses are connected together, How to Win Friends and Influence People gradually appears as a complete picture of human nature. The book does not deny that people can be selfish, have strong egos, and make mistakes, but it shows that with the right approach, these traits are no longer barriers, but starting points for understanding. When closing How to Win Friends and Influence People, what remains is not a list of rigid rules, but a different way of seeing people. The book makes us realize that many conflicts in life do not come from bad intentions, but from a lack of understanding. When we change the way we speak, the way we listen, and the way we view others, we not only improve our relationships, but also make ourselves calmer and more comfortable. How to Win Friends and Influence People is therefore not a book to read once and forget, but a book to remember and apply little by little in everyday life. And sometimes, just a very small change in how we treat others is enough to create changes much bigger than we expect. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you are someone who does not like reading books but still wants to deeply understand classic books in an easy and approachable way, please continue to accompany the channel. We will meet again in the next stories.